Hello, I am Robert, and you're welcome here in my busy little shop. On today's episode of What's on My Workbench, I want to talk about tool selection, and I want to talk about getting started in the leathercraft hobby. I see people from time to time, they're asking what kit should I buy. Matter of fact, I had a close friend of mine ask exactly that. They want to start making belts and maybe some wallets. And they want to know if a certain kit would be great to use. And so they sent me the information on it, and I looked through there. But what I want to do is I'll get over here on the workbench. I'm going to talk a little bit about my opinion on that. But beforehand, I wanted to show you a clip. I recorded this on Saturday and had intended to try to get it out on Super Bowl Sunday, but I figured everybody else was focused on something else and didn't really want to get into that. But I'll play this little clip and then I'll come back and we'll be over here on the workbench and we can talk about those specific tools and my idea on selecting tools. I appreciate you taking time to be within the shop today. Oh, what do we got here? I got a package came in. I just stepped in the house for just a minute. Kind of heavy. Wow. That is quite the shirt there. Campsite shirt. Man, that is nice. I know, we already did that. I don't need to do that. That is really cool. Wild boar bourbon jerky made from feral swine. That's cool. Out of Hubbard, Oregon. Beer sausage sticks. That will be good. Super Bowl. I got Super Bowl snacks, and I've got some hot beef sticks here. The other one says beer sausage. I didn't know you could make sausage from beer. I wonder how hot that is. Oof, it says habanero. Let's see what else there is. Oh, there's a note. I must have come in from the back side. Well, Robert, just a small token of goodies from the Northwest. Hope you have a great day. I do appreciate that. I'm not going to say the name because I don't know if they want the name out there or not. But let's see what we've got here. I really like the color of that shirt, and it's really soft. Barbecue sauce. Oh, that's what this is. I thought that was a label with that, but it says Black Label Barbecue Oven Baked Baby Back Ribs Recipe. Black Label brand. Bold Original. I'll tell you what, I don't know when I'll get this out, but tomorrow is Super Bowl, and I've got to go run to the store, so I'm going to give that a try. It looks really good. Hopefully it comes out that good. Just a little note from the shop. I appreciate everybody out there, and looking forward to trying this out. All right, there you go. What do you think about that little clip? That was actually a gift. I'm wearing the shirt today from St. John. He's one of the winners on the drawing that I had for the anniversary video. And he just sent it over as a thank you, and I really do appreciate that. So I want to talk a little bit about the tools. In my opinion, buying a kit that has items in it that you aren't going to use potentially doesn't really save you any money. You may save money if you break down each one of the pieces. Maybe you save $15 on the kit. But if there's a $15 tool in there that you don't use, well, then that doesn't help you. So I think really when it comes down to leathercraft, getting into the leathercraft hobby, to buy all these tools, you know, at the onset would be, you know, very expensive. And so the way I started was I bought, you know, I did buy a small kit, and it had items in there that I still haven't used today. Kind of proves the point. But what I would suggest is, you know, like I think I want to do leathercraft, but I don't know how far into this I'm going to get. I would buy what you need for a project. And so let's talk about a belt. So a belt, you can buy your leather for a belt two ways. You can buy belt blanks. They're already cut to the size as far as the width, thickness that you're going to need. If you have a side of leather, you can use a strap cutter. And they make expensive strap cutters, but this strap cutter does a good job, and I use it almost every day in the shop. I have two of them. I had one that was given to me as a gift, and so it's nice to have them on the two tables here, and then usually they wander to one that I'm looking for them anyway. But anyway, a strap cutter. So now you have your strap of leather cut, and at that point, I guess there's a couple different ways you can go. I'm gonna assume you're gonna glue the two layers together. So I've got some contact adhesive here, and you don't have to buy that. You can buy, I'll talk about the brand I use, Weldwood. Comes in cans from I think 8 ounces up to gallons. You can find them at a hardware store. It's got a little brush in there, so that will take care of gluing that together. The next thing that you're gonna probably use is gonna be a stitch groover. And there's a couple different styles and brands here, but a stitch groover, and that will mark where your stitches are going to go. Now, if you didn't want to spend I think it's like $20 for a stitch groover, you could use a wing divider. The reason why I'm giving you some options is I think that a lot of people have some of the items they need to do the work in their current toolbox. So if you have a wing divider, you can mark it with that. And that will help you to get your stitches in a straight line. So a stitch groover here would be the next item that I would suggest on that list. And that stitch groover, you'll end up using that on, I'll just say most of your projects. So it would be a tool that you use going forward. You'll use this even if you're not making belts. Maybe it's a strap for a purse. There's other items that you're going to use that strap cutter for. So once you have your stitch line identified, the next thing I would be doing is going to be creating the holes that I'm going to stitch in. And I use the Weaver stitching chisels. You can find expensive stitching chisels if you want. I started using these. They work well for me. If you've been along here, you know I use the heck out of these things. I purchased them, I think it's been 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, and they were like $25. The first set I bought, I don't even have them up here anymore, but I bought them from Tandy, and they were a smaller set. So when I went to a bigger set, I just ended up buying the Weaver ones. So they do a good job for me, not a big investment there. If you don't want to use stitching chisels, you want to be more traditional, you want to use an awl and a needle, then you can use an awl. To get your spacing, a lot of people will use a stitching wheel or a marking wheel that you run down through the groove, and it puts a little dimple where every stitch goes, and then you'll use your awl and a needle and thread to sew that together. So you can do it with an awl. And this is an old antique awl. There might be one in your grandfather's toolbox that you can get without any cost. So the next thing, and it may be ahead of it, but you're going to need a knife to cut with. And I've got expensive knives here. Here's one here that I had purchased recently. But for years, all I've used is the utility knife. This one here is a really simple Stanley 299. Not the price, that's the model number. It doesn't have a retractable blade. You can use a retractable blade one as well, probably a little safer on the workbench. But you probably have a utility knife in your toolbox, so that will work as well. Now, the edge work on it, you can buy lots of different edge tools. This was an upgrade. It was a tool that I bought because I was frustrated with some of the less expensive ones. You hear a phrase, cry once, buy once, cry once, whichever way you want to say it first. And I do subscribe to that a little bit. I'll try to save money and buy the better tool the first time. This one's a Ron's tool number 3, and I use this one here more than all of the other edge tools combined. So you have to find what works for you. But I started off with a Tandy set, and I think the biggest problem I had with that was one, I didn't really like the design on that, but as I think back, I think I could improve that design and I now have learned how to sharpen it better. And a dull edge tool is about like using a hatchet to try to do your edge work. It's about impossible to do. But an edge tool, when you have the bend over area or the fold back at the buckle, you are going to want to split that down. And this was an inexpensive skiver that I bought, and you can buy these fairly inexpensively that'll do a decent job. I think this was it was less than $20. I think it was like $15. Then you're going to need needles to go with your thread. And I use the Tiger Ritza thread. There's lots of brands out there. You don't have to use Tiger Ritza. I just really like it. I gravitated to that when I saw the different color selection when I was buying from Weaver Leather, and I started with a bunch of those spools. So I started there, but you'll need some needles. And I would suggest, like these needles that have this large hole in there, the area here where it's split apart, that's going to be your weakest point. And I had a few of these fail, and I was watching, I think it was Chuck Dorsett, and he was talking about the John James needles. And I purchased John James needles, and I do a lot of hand sewing. I've more than halfway, I'm probably 2/3 of the way through a 500 meter spool of Tiger Ritza thread, 0.08, and that's been since the beginning of December. Yeah, so a little over 2 months, and I'm 2/3 of the way through a 500 meter spool. So you're going to need some needles. Get some good ones. Now, the end of the belt, trying to cut the English point, you can cut that by hand. Not saying you can't, and you can do that with your utility knife. You can also cut the round end with the utility knife as well. There's a lot of people that do that on a regular basis. I like the consistency of the strap end punch, but you're not obligated to jump in there first. I would really suggest start in with the lowest entry of expense, but still buy a decent tool, because if you don't have fun making the belt, then you're not going to continue on. But you can cut with this. And I've seen some really artistic strap ends on belts to where there maybe, incorporate straight lines instead of the curved English point, which can be a little bit of a challenge to make look balanced when you cut it by hand. Then you're going to need to put adjustment holes in your belt for the tongue of the buckle, but you're also going to need to create a slot to mount that buckle on the other end. All you really need is this drive punch here. This is a CS Osborne drive punch, and you can buy one of these, and to create the slot you would make a hole here and then another hole at the other end, and you can connect that with a knife. And I did that for probably the first 20 belts before I bought a bag punch. And a bag punch does a really good job. It's quick, it's easy, it's repeatable, looks professional, but once again, you don't have to spend a bunch of money to dabble in the craft and find out if you like it. So you can use this for the adjustment holes and to create the slot as well. So, then you'll need some clear finishes and that type of thing, but you can put those on with cutoffs of sponges. Now, I didn't cover yet a hammer or a maul for your stitching chisels. And you can spend as much money here as, if I take out this expensive edging tool, you can spend as much money on this as I've got sitting here on the rest of this. Yeah, pretty sure. I mean, you can spend easily $100 on one of these, and you don't have to do that. I would say that if you're doing it and you're buying one of like the yellow-headed plastic mallets, I don't like them because they're louder. The impact is louder than these. But once again, you don't have to get in the deep end, so to speak, when you want to start that hobby. I've got a hammer over here, and maybe you've got one too. Here's a mallet that's in my toolbox. It's got a rubber end and a hard plastic end. You could use this. If you've got something like that, you could use that. You could use a regular hammer, but if you use it very long on these stitching chisels, it will start to deform the back of this. But once again, that's not the end of the world either. So it's really up to you. Let me put this back. You'll want to use a cutting surface. I've seen people say they use plywood and things like that. I don't like that. The splinters and everything become an issue. But I started off using an older cutting board from the kitchen. Time to upgrade the cutting board in the kitchen anyway. And that's what I used for the first year, was that cutting board. I bought the Pondo board. I like that. There's some things I don't like about it, but it does a good job for me, especially when you're creating the stitching holes. To me, when we get into the rest of these tools, it's about adding depths to your experience. It's about adding, it's more enjoyable for me to use a bag punch than to create two holes and connect it. It just gives me a more finished project. And you can do all of that with the simplest tools. I think you could create, well, there's no doubt, you could create wallets with this same set. You could create purses with this same set. A pair of scissors is nice. You probably have a pair of scissors around the house. Do you need an expensive pair of scissors? Probably not to get started. It's one of those things that you have to kind of work into. A good set of shears, I found a supplier where I buy the Ginger scissors from, and they're less than $30 for the same one that some suppliers are at $60 for. So it doesn't hurt to look around. I am a little leery of just buying the least expensive tool that I can find on Amazon, unless I know for sure what it is that I'm getting. Then I wouldn't have an issue with that. So in closing, if there's something, let's talk about wallets and let's talk about belts. If there's a tool that you like, would you put it in the comments? And if you think that there's a reason not to start as an entry like this, then you let me know. But these stitching chisels is probably the most entry level of stitching chisel. And I've made hand stitched belts. I'm probably 300. All belts combined, the ones without stitching, another 100 or maybe even more than that. So easily 400 belts I've made. And I've used these for almost all the stitching. I have another set of stitching chisels over there I've used a little bit, but I keep coming back to these. And this is half the price of the ones that I keep coming back from. So I'm going to wrap up there. I do appreciate you taking time to be with me in the shop. Please like, share, and subscribe. But more importantly, I do hope you have a great day.